Welcome to 4C Technology. Today we will learn what computer coding or programming is. Humans interact with each other in languages such as English, Spanish, and French, and many more languages. If humans want to interact with computers, they give them a set of instructions. Then the computer follows that instructions and does what the human tells it to do. Today we will interact with the computer and code a small game. I'm going to teach you the basics and how to code games in Scratch. So first let's start with the x and y coordinates. So x is always right to left and y is up and down. So the middle is always 0, 0. So if I want to change where my cat is, I can make the 0, and then I'll make this 0, and now the coordinates is 0, 0. So I named my project Run up here. You can name it whatever you want, but I named it Run. So first I want this cat to run right and left on the screen. So I'm going to go to the events and take this when clicked block and go to motion and move 10 steps. You may have noticed there are a lot of categories. Looks are usually purple blocks. That's why there's a purple circle. In this you can make it look like something. This you can make a sound play. Events, you can start things when something happens. Control are loops. Sensing is if it's touching or if it's pressed. Operators is math. Variables and Y blocks are blocks you make. So we're going to focus mostly on the motion for today. So now if I built this block of code, if I click the green flag, it's going to move its x coordinates. If you look down here, the y never changes. But I want it to move by itself. I don't want to be having to click the green flag every time I want it to move. So to fix that, you can go to the control and forever around this block. And then it goes to the edge. When you give instructions to a computer, you need to code them clearly, because a computer doesn't just know by itself that if it touches the edge, it has to come back. So we need to tell it to, if it touches the edge, to bounce off the edge. So you can take that block. So if you click the green flag, it's going to bounce off the edge. But you may know it's going upside down. So to fix that, you need to set the rotation style and click and say left, right. And after that, if you click go, it's always going to be left and right. But if you wanted to make it look more animated, you can say next costume. And now it's actually gonna look like it's running across the screen. And if you want to make it look good, you can go here to choose a backdrop. And it's gonna load. And then you can pick any backdrops here. I'm gonna pick this Castle 2 backdrop. And now the cat is running in front of the castle. So with these simple blocks of code, we made the cat run across our screen. Don't forget to save the project. I'm going to show you this week's assignment or project. So I'm going to click the green flag to start the game, and then the apples will start falling. And if I click on them, I'll get like a point in the cot. After 10 seconds, it's going to say out of apples. So I caught 5 and I missed 4. So this week I will show you how to make this game. Once you've seen the demo of the apple picking game, now I will show you how to build it. So first I'm going to start with an apple. So I'm going to delete this sprite, the cat, and click the choose a sprite. And then it's gonna show a bunch of sprites. I'm going to pick this apple sprite, and after I click on it, it's going to appear on screen. So I have an apple to code now. Then let's pick a nice backdrop for the apple to fall in. I'm going to pick this blue sky. You can pick any backdrop. So the first thing I wanted to do is when I want to place this apple at the top left corner of the screen. Then I'm going to take out a when clicked and take out 3 of these go to blocks. So I'm going to take one of these and put it right here. And then I'm going to go to the control and take a repeat until. The repeat until does something until a certain condition. And then I'm going to go to motion and say change y by, I'm going to make this a -10. So now if I start the game, it's going to fall, but it just stops at the edge. So let's fix that. We can go to the control and take an if statement. And in that if statement, we're going to say if this apple is touching the edge of the screen, we want it to go back to its position. So now if you start the game, the apple's gonna go, touch the edge, and go. Now let's make it so that if we click the apple, it goes back to the top of the screen. Go to events, take this when sprite clicked block and put it and attach it to this go to block. So now it goes down. If I click it, it goes back up to the beginning. But it's not that fun just clicking an apple when it stays in the same direction and never changes. So to fix that, you have to go to the operators and take this pick random. You have to change this to -200 and 200, and then you can right click and duplicate it 3 times. And this is going to go in the X value before I told you that the X value is right or left. So I'm going to put this in all of the X values. So now it's going to pick a random position to go every time I click it, every time it touches the edge. Now let's add like a score or points. So first I'm going to say make a variable and say caught. And then I'm going to click OK. And then make a variable again and say missed, and then click OK. So there are 2 values, caught and missed. So at the beginning, I want to set both of them to 0. So when I click on one, I want to change my caught value by 1. And when I touch the edge, that's a miss. So I'm going to change my missed value by 1. So don't forget to save your project. When I click the flag, if I click the apple, it picks a random position every time. and if I miss it, one's gonna appear in the miss section. Now, the game's going on forever right now. To make it go for a limited time, you have to go to the operators and say repeat until, and then repeat until blank equals bigger than 50. Then you have to go to the sensing and take the timer. You can show the timer if you want. I'm not going to show it in this game. And at the beginning, I want to always make the timer go to 0. I'm going to make this 10. You can make it as long as you want. I'm going to make it 10. And now if I click go, I can catch as many as I want until it's just going to stop when it's 10 seconds, and it stopped. So when it stops, it just stops suddenly. So let's make it go to the middle. Again, I told you the middle was 0, 0. So you have to change the X to 0 and the Y to 0. And we can go to the looks and make it say out of apples. You can make it say anything. I'm going to make it say out of apples. And then an exclamation point. I'm going to click save now. Full screen. And now apples are falling. And I can out of apples. So I missed 5, so 5 fell to the ground and I didn't catch them, and I caught 4. And it says out of apples and goes to the center. So that is how you would make this week's project. Hope you had fun building the apple picking game. If you want more fun, you can click the sprite menu and there'll be a lot of sprites to pick one. Pick the bowl and then make it controllable by your arrow keys. For this game, I only showed you one way of making it, but there are a lot of ways of making it. Try making it another way. Next week, have you ever wondered how a traffic light works? Next week, I will show you how to build and code a traffic light model using hardware and software.